Good evening, everyone. Good evening. How are we doing? How are we all keeping on this lovely Saturday day? How are we doing? See, yeah, that's all fine. Right, a good bit to talk about. Obviously, with Joe Biden's, I don't even know what we call it, but we'll have to talk about that. We have a good bit more to talk about for other stuff too, in Ireland and Cavan. A good bit in Finland too. Actually, talk about the new border law in Finland. We had to still talk about that. Well, it's been passed. There's a lot to talk about basically at the moment. We give it a few minutes in it. And so a video just uploaded there. We talk about that eventually. The issue with that. Yep. Right, you. Have a sip of my milk. Yes. I know I'm a few minutes early too. It's at 6 o'clock and it's just before it. There might be a few more other stuff at the top of it. There's actually a good bit, so it's hard to remember everything. Am I live? Just to make sure. I know it's probably pretty early too for people. Just give it a few minutes. Again, the worst thing about these streams, I should just get straight into it, but I kind of give it a few minutes just for things that. Let me see. No, that's the wrong thing. What am I doing? Yeah, okay, I'm live. Okay, very good. Good stuff. It is very bright, I suppose, to use the right phrase. Yep. 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 But just check something actually when I'm here. I probably shouldn't upload the video just before because I just literally recorded it about 5 minutes before I went live. I probably should have waited, but look at it. Doesn't matter. It's up anyway. No, I just thought it was important to have a video up. I probably should put up little clips of bits of parts of the stream. I probably should just do that sometimes when I'm talking about things instead of you just having the live stream. It would make a lot more sense, wouldn't it? But I don't do that. I probably should, but sure. Look at why is this gone more over here now? I don't know. It's just that much. Shut that. Yeah. Yep. Suppose we get it started now in a second. We usually wait 5 minutes in and then start. That's usually what we would do. What you? Where is it? We'll start now. See, I should just put the note. I don't do that. Where in the name, because it's that much open, isn't it? This. I'm sure people have seen the video, so I don't really need to play it. I don't think. Um, but obviously, we talk about Joe Biden first. That situation, I don't know what you'd really call it, but this. I don't even know what you would really call it. I'm afraid to even say what I would call it. But anyway, we get started. I probably should just have my instead of going back and forth. I probably should just have it up on the side. Give me a second to get it. I should have probably thought of that when I'm just talking instead of being like focus on what I'm saying instead of what's been said in the chat. So at least I can look on my phone maybe a bit better. I'm watching myself. That's the only thing about it. Let me see. I put it here just for the moment so I can see what's if anything needs to be said. If anybody says anything like that, so at least I can see it straight away. All messages, yes. Right here, I just pause it so I can see what I'm instead of you looking at the screen moving. Right here, so let's talk about a good bit to talk about. Maybe I just put this on, or just pause this when I'm here. I don't need it on for the moment, so I can just turn it off. Right here, well, let's go. So I'm sure people have seen this. Like whatever but viral. The word is not even viral. It just literally went everywhere. Like it just exploded everywhere. Let's put it that way. Whatever hope of Joe Biden winning the next election or even going for the presidency is blowing into next Christmas, to put it lightly. To put it in the best possible terms, it's Jovo. It is generally Jovo. Because literally, quite literally, Joe Biden has wrote checks for billions of euros to give to Zelensky, not Putin. But he thinks Zelensky's Putin, so I don't know what kind of drugs he's on, but hello, I seen you comment in the video. I didn't get reading it, but I just seen it pop up. But yeah, no, like it's Jovo. Like it's Jovo. He's gone. He's fucked. Like there's no coming back from this. There's no coming back from this one. There's generally nothing. There's nothing to come back from because he's literally given Zelensky billion. And he doesn't even know who is standing there, talking to it. Like it's Jovo, and especially in front of the whole world leaders. Like everybody was there. All of them were there, and everybody was watching it. Like, and then we're not even going to get into him calling Donald Trump Vice President Trump. Like he did say that too. So like he doesn't even know who his vice president is, basically. So it's Jovo. Like it's never been so Jovo because just if you've seen the face of Zelensky, it tells you all you need to know. So and imagine Joe Biden signing off on all these checks he's given to Zelensky, and he doesn't even know who he's giving the money to. That's the worst thing about the whole lot of it. President Putin, like and this is the leader of the free world. Just to say, the leader of the free world, and not even to mention, remember the debate on the other night, not a debate, but he was there asking, basically the media was asking him questions, and he was answering them, kind of. But what I'm trying to say is, it was the most painful thing ever to watch, basically, because he didn't even know where he was. Like, he just went like, anyway, if you watch that Mike Dice's latest video. Did you see the question? Yeah, like it did. But still, nonetheless, the damage was done. Regardless if he correct himself, the damage was done. Like it's just completely Jovo. Like there is no coming back from this one. Whatever about saying Vice President Trump, even though you don't even know who you won against in the election, so it's just Jovo. And just watch the press conference with the media. Like in fairness to the media asked him some tough questions, But he didn't answer. He basically went on like anyway. He didn't know really what he was doing. Basically, uh, it's just Jova. It is just Jova. Like it's going to be Kamala Harris because you couldn't have this fellow go for another 2 years because he doesn't know where he is. Let's put it that way. Like this is just telling you all you need to know, and I wouldn't mind. But the day he said this, the whole Democratic Party were more like if he can control himself, etc., we might let him run for the presidency. But the Democratic, like he's going to lose. Like there's not a hope of him going. Like whatever about Kamala Harris, there's maybe some hope. At least she knows where she is, even though she talks about school buses all the time. That's the only thing she ever talks about. At least she probably knows, who's who, who he's talking to, she's giving billions to, Yeah, but Zelensky wasn't too happy in being called Putin. You know, but still, nonetheless, he looks very bad. It looks very bad. You know, it looks extremely bad. Like I'm sure if you were signing the check booths, because at the end of the day, every penny that's given to Ukraine, he has to sign off on, the president, the commander in chief. And he said something interesting in the press conference to the media. He said, "I'm not my commander in chief and stuff." But excuse me, Joe Biden, does he not know he's the commander in chief? Like that's the thing he said in the press conference. You look at it too. He was like my commander in chief, but he's the commander in chief. So I don't know what kind of drugs he was smoking or whatever. Because he generally it was painful. Like if you do watch 5 minutes of that conference, the news conference, it's just like pulling teeth. It's generally just like pulling teeth. It's just extremely painful, and it's extremely sad. And I have sympathy for Joe Biden in that regard because he does have dementia. Like there's no denying it. He has some kind of dementia or something like that, and it's not his fault. Like nobody decides to get dementia. Like he generally does have it. Like I do feel sorry for the man because he does have dementia. Like the White House can deny it all they want, but it literally is true. Like there's something wrong. Like it couldn't be this way. I know people forget things and stuff, but it couldn't be this bad. It generally couldn't be this bad for a president, and particularly for the leader of the free world. I wouldn't mind if you were working a small job or something like that. But literally, this is just to put in perspective. He has all the nuclear launch codes. Just to say, so that's it's a very extreme job, basically, not just stack shelves. That's what I. It's very dangerous, but basically what you're the leader of the free world. The whole world relies on you, etc., etc. Hello, Gordon. How are we doing? But yeah, this is very sad. Yeah, I don't know, but again, the worst thing about it is, like, the fuck either way. Like, I think even if Kamala Harris goes, um, let's be fair, you and I both know she just goes on electric school buses. She doesn't talk about anything about electric school buses. Like that's all she talks about, electric school buses. She talks about nothing else but electric school buses. So I don't know. There's nobody where the Democrats can put up that can challenge her. Unless AOC jumps in. That's the only person I could see because all the young people would probably vote for her. Because it's generally just Jova. If the word ever was used before, it's generally Jova. Like it's Jova. But the fact of the matter is too, all the world leaders behind him, as you see here, I just played the clip a bit. Like you see all the world leaders there behind him, etc., etc. Like it is really just showing up. Like the United States have been just showing up. And particularly the Danish Prime Minister's reaction. It's interesting. And Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, just over here, is interesting to see because everybody was. I don't know. I don't think they knew what. Like all of them were there, and they all didn't know what what he was talking about, what he was going on about. All of them were very confused. Let's put it that way. What he was on about. Because the fact of the matter, too, this was the NATO summit. And the one thing they were talking about constantly over and over again was about Putin. And he didn't even know who Putin was, it seems to be. He thinks Putin was there with him. So, I don't know. And not to mention, he doesn't even know who his vice president is, just to put it that way. Vice President Trump. Like, if he wins the next election in America, it's over. Like like, he couldn't win. Like I couldn't see anybody literally voting somebody that doesn't even know what day of the week it is. Uh, like I have no like. It's obviously a terrible thing to have dementia, etc., etc. But I simply wouldn't vote somebody in if they didn't even know what was going on. Because again, it's particularly as it wouldn't mind so much the presidency of Ireland if you voted in somebody that didn't know where they were in Ireland. Um, but literally, this is the leader of the free world, the leader of the most powerful country in the Western democracies, uh, the United States of America. You know, the biggest nuclear arsenal in the world too. It's very important that you elect somebody that knows what they're doing. Yeah, well, I don't know about it. I don't know. Could it be as bad as this now? In fairness to my, I think he might know who he's talking to. That Putin is not the president of Ukraine, for example. You know, and he knows who his vice president, the deputy prime minister is. I'm sure he knows who's who, basically. You know, in that regard, give him credit on that one. You know, but you can't have somebody that literally doesn't even know what's going on and what day of the week it is. You know, at least in fairness to the former Dutch prime minister, at least he might know what day of the week it is. You know. In fairness, don't even like, yeah, but that's good to see. I love Fiona. But you get what I'm saying? It's very sad because, and I don't blame Joe Biden for it because it is definitely dementia. Like, nobody can deny it's dementia. Some other disease if it's not dementia. But, you know, he didn't choose to have it. So I do feel sorry for him in that regard. But at the end of the day, it's in the interest of the whole world and it's the interest of the whole the United States that he steps back and says, you know, I'm not going to seek re election. Um, because you know you can't let this go on for another 4 years, basically. But again, we see what democracy. I think, yeah. Let me see. So obviously, Zelensky then is in Ireland too. On the way back, he's in Ireland. Um, so Vladimir Zelensky says Joe Biden calling him Putin was a mistake. So he's meeting Simon House. He's looking for money from Ireland, of course. He's there looking for billions. He's looking to stock we can give him. Um, so I don't know. But we see it'll probably be another 50 billion. Um, so that's what it is. Yeah, as I say, yeah, been out and given 7 million to, you know, this. So of course he's only looking for money. That's the only reason why he's coming here. But I don't know. But no, it's pretty sad now. And also the T-shirt's going to Kiev sometime this summer. Some of those. Yeah, anything good that Ireland wins, of course. Now, I suppose the biggest thing and the biggest elephant in the room, well, I suppose we talk about it, is about the Finnish government passing this thing. And obviously, I know a good bit about it because there was a big discussion about it a while ago. We're not talking about it at the moment. We'll go to it later on because there's a big, huge discussion about that too. Because obviously, I know what they were taking the Social Democrats, particularly. We get to that eventually. But yeah, just to show this is from Great Media. EU stats showed 23% lower residency population now in 2023 for people came to work. So, so what this means basically in simpler terms, the amount of people that's coming here to work, you know, to contribute and stuff like that, are all coming for handouts, basically. That's what in the most simplest word, that's what's happening. They're not coming on work permits, they're coming just to be given handouts, you know, from the government. People are not coming to work, basically. So that's what this article is basically saying. There's less people wanting to work and just more wanting to get handouts, things handed to them. You know, that's the thing. So it's no shock there to be totally honest. But yeah, as you see, it's nobody really wants to work. They just want to get handouts. Because 23 less, it's a lot. It is a lot. So a lot of them are just coming basically just to sit on the door. Well, not to sit on the door, but get money for nothing. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. So that's what's happening, and obviously that's very bad when you see this happening, where people just coming and getting things for basically nothing. for doing nothing. Um, and it's not sustainable. I know that's a word that probably many people won't use, but it isn't sustainable. If you have people that you're giving, say you're giving 15,000 people 300 euro, 400 euro a week, right? Take for example, it isn't sustainable. Like it isn't sustainable given that much money unless they were working maybe, and then they lost their job, etc., something like that. But it is generally not sustainable. So there's no surprise on that one to be done, Lindsay. Um, Now we get to this too. So I'm sure you can still see my screen just to check. Yeah, you can. Okay. So Elon Musk, obviously know Elon Musk, but the European Commission obviously is trying to stop people's feelings by being hurt. And he went to Elon Musk. Obviously, Elon Musk goes Twitter. I know people say X, but I still move forward with Twitter. Offered X a sequel deal, a backroom deal. Thankfully, it doesn't seem like Elon Musk accepted it. Maybe he has, but I don't think he has. He's publicly said that he hasn't, but maybe he has. But anyway, the other platforms did accept it. So, it's funny to see the European Commission going to people secretly for a secret deal, etc., behind the scenes. So obviously Twitter's going to get fined billions now from the European Union. So that's what's going to happen. So maybe Twitter might be in trouble now in the next few years because it's going to be hundreds of millions, probably hundreds of billions. Because the European Commission just wants to make sure Twitter sinks into the ground and gone. Because they just won't abide by, people and shutting people up, basically. That's really what it's about. It's different if people are making death threats or something like that on social media. Obviously, that's understandable. That's taken down, or posting child images, etc. That shouldn't be tolerated. Obviously, that against the law. But just saying your opinion or you disagree with people's pronouns, you shouldn't be probably locked up and banned for the eternity. So we should see. But my view is what Elon Musk will have to do soon. And this is the thing: what Elon Musk will have to do soon, everybody that's on Twitter will have to pay probably €10, €15 maybe a month to Twitter because they are probably going to go bankrupt sooner or later because they're going to be fined probably into oblivion by the European Commission. So that's what I'm taking at the moment. That's what's going to happen. So every time I use Twitter, it's monthly subscription, take for that. That's what probably Elon Musk is going to do. So, say you have Twitter, I have Twitter, we have to pay €15, €20 a month to use Twitter, etc. So that's what I say is going to happen. That's what I say is going to happen here because the European Commission are really out for it. They're really out to shut down Twitter. No, I didn't see anything. No, I didn't see about that. No. I don't really pay much attention to the sports kind of thing. I knew South Africa was playing today. I seen the headline, but we'll get to that in a second. This thing. So Aaron only seen this video earlier on, just before I went live. So this goes back to many things. The right to self-defense. Do you have the right to defend your property? Do you have the right to defend yourself? And as I said in the video, I have personal experience, not so much being shot at or anything like that, but I have a personal experiences. Back when I was young, when it's about 11 or 10, people came in the middle of the night when I was 10 or 11 around that time. People came in the middle of the night, there's 3 or 4 of them, to try and get into my house, to burgle my house when I was young. Now, thankfully, they didn't succeed. We were fighting them off. But still, obviously, that sticks with you. You still are afraid at night and stuff like that. You do, I suppose, you do have post-traumatic stress still about it. I will admit that I probably never talked about it before, but it did happen. It still probably sticks with me. I probably should have seen counseling about it, but it still sticks with me. It's always in the back of your head. So I can understand it this way, because again, I still feel taken aback about it. I feel violated. Because it's your property. You're inside your house, asleep in bed, and then you hear people outside your window trying to get in. It's very frightening in the middle of the night. It's very frightening. It isn't something anybody should experience. It's not. It's not right. It's not on. For somebody to come in and try and take your property, and especially in the middle of the night, there's no good time, I suppose, for someone to come in. But I can relate to this because it's frightening. It is frightening. For to be violated in such a way. I understand that. I get where the farmer's coming from in this situation. So this happened to me, obviously, just towards the gone by. Now, this poor farmer, 62, lives on his own. He's been targeted 3 times in the last year. It's a sad reality that happens all the time in rural Ireland. People have been burgled, particularly farmers, etc., etc. And obviously, he has a gun, and the farmers usually have guns to have them locked away, etc., securely away, etc., etc. And obviously, in this occasion, as you see from the photo, he shot the van as it was leaving. He shot the engine, he shot the window. Now, as I said, I've done a whole video earlier on about it. But at the end of the day, the farmer had the right to, if somebody was keep going, like, because it's the same gang that done it 3 times, basically. So it's the same people. I think, as far as I can gather. He has the right to defend himself. He generally does. And defend his property. Because, again, as I said in that video, the Gardaí turns up and they don't investigate. They don't bother to look at it, go and look into it. And not even that, if it goes to court, if they do get caught, etc., prosecuted, it goes to court to get off with it. They'll be out in a week or a month, and they do it again. They just keep doing it. That's the thing. They just keep going, keep doing it every day of the week. They just, will never learn their lesson, basically. Because why would they when they just get 5 minutes in prison and let out? And then they go and do the same thing over again and over and over again. And it's unfair, because the thing that happens to burglaries and stuff like that, it always happens to elderly people, vulnerable people that are on their own, as I say in this instance. This farmer that lives on his own. Can you imagine how terrifying that is? Now, and obviously when they tried to break into my house years ago, when I was younger, actually my mother was there, etc., etc., and she was the one who fighting them off. But thankfully that they didn't get in, because again, if they got in and we tried to resist, they probably would have. God only knows what they could have done. Because again, the thing when they were caught and stuff like that, they were high on drugs. They were looking for drug money. They were trying to get stuff to pay. They'd like to pay off their debts, etc., etc. So who knows what they could have done. And that's the sad way. You don't know who these people are that are coming into your property. And the Gardaí seized this man's shotgun and his ammunition. So if somebody comes in the meantime back to try and take more of his stuff, he's not to defend himself, basically, with. And the Gardaí do nothing, basically, because they end up taking mud for the Gardaí needed to come out. So it's a sad state of affairs. But the suspects were trying to steal a loaded chainsaw, and it probably is a dear enough chainsaw, you can imagine. A few €1,000 equipment, etc., etc. It's not cheap, and the Gardaí basically would say to you, let the fucking people take it and be out hundreds of thousands of euro on the equipment. Because again, this man, God only knows how much they took off him, and how much he's down in expenses, etc., etc. It is a sad state of affairs. But as it says here, rural parts of Mayo of Galway have been completely faced by burglary gangs. This is what's happening in the country. There's so many burglary gangs going around doing it. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is exactly what I'm saying. The farmer lives on his own and is sick and tired and frightened of criminal gangs taking his property. And this is the thing. And in this case, as I said in my video, if you watch my video from earlier on, like, these people will learn a lesson. I'm sure after they come out of prison, if they do go to prison, they will be reformed people, because they're not going to try and burgle somebody else's property in case they get their heads blown off next time. But they learned their lesson. Hopefully they have learned their lesson, and hopefully be reformed people. The people who informed this incident and will never do another thing again to break the law. But we can only hope. And we can only hope this farmer be left in peace, and not to, like, again, he's not annoying anybody. He's just in his property. He's minding his own business, and people are coming and targeting him. But it isn't acceptable, really. Uh, as I said, this case in 2004, people would remember would have been shot on this property. It was a big thing. That's why this law was passed in 2011. And I suppose I talked about in the video a good bit too. Reasonable force. Like a lot of people are saying, did the farmer use reasonable force to get rid of them, especially because they were fleeing in the van at the time. Um, like in my opinion, I think he did. Like I generally do think he did, because again, they would have probably come back if they thought it was a pushover and done it again. But obviously, getting your window shot out and you're getting two bullet holes in your fan might teach you a lesson not to do it again. Um, but I say that's what law should be all about. If somebody hits you, you have the right to defend yourself, hit back. Um, because at the end of the day, even if you rang on God, the shit, it will take an hour or two for them to come. Yeah, I've seen graffiti with that on too. I think some of them, the block and hotels, etc. Something like that. I'm only briefly touching with it. Oh, what are they? Oh, right. Oh, I think I've seen a video like yeah. But in fairness, now I understand there is a lot of. There's just too many tourists still. I will admit it because the prices in Barcelona and other two cities have gone up because people are using them for Airbnbs, etc., etc. I understand kind of in a way, but at the same time, a lot of the economy, only for tourists, there wouldn't be many. They wouldn't have much money basically. If that makes any sense. But it is over tourized Spain and Portugal. They are over tourized. Like take for example, I said before, I can go along with two other people for less than €1,000 basically on a plane. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like it is very cheap to go to Spain and Portugal. That's why so many people are going. But they are being overrun, I suppose, by tourists in a lot of places. Yeah, well, obviously that too, But you get what I'm saying. You don't want to be over tourist, basically. 'Cause you don't want just a flock of tourists, basically. Like that was the nice thing about housing. There was only a few tourists. There wasn't many. Compared to if I went to Barcelona, I couldn't walk down anyone. You know, when I went into the Helsinki Cathedral, the Lutheran Cathedral, you were able to walk into it. You would be able to walk around basically. There wasn't just a flood of people. If that was in Spain, in one of the cathedrals in Spain in Barcelona, I'm sure I wouldn't be able to even walk in the door because there'd be that many people crammed into it. Hello, Sean. If that makes any sense, so it's a good and that's it. But it is driving up the prices of properties and stuff like that in the major cities in Spain. Yeah, if that makes any sense. So I can understand why. But again, at the same time, too, a lot of these jobs and the economy, only for tourists, again, tourists contribute so much to the Spanish and Portuguese economy. I think it's something like 20% or something like that. The GDP for Spain and Portugal comes from tourism. Like it's a lot. Like all the British and Irish tourists go, there's a lot. I can't tell you the amount of people I've heard going to Spain and going to Portugal. And Italy too. A lot of people go to Italy, Greece. Uh, you know, I suppose there can be benefits and there can be you have to weigh it positively. You have to kind of balance it. That's the way it should be really. But I can understand why, because the property prices are going up because people want to have Airbnbs for tourists, and people get. It's the same with what's happening. Well, not so much in Dublin. It's just greedy developers and stuff like that here more than anything else in the government. Um, you know, um, and then especially the small islands off the coast of Spain. I can understand why they're upset too, because it's only small islands that people are going to that are don't have many places, etc. Bono. But yeah, no, I'm sure you probably went when you went there in 2009. It was probably full up with tourists. Like you probably couldn't walk down the street. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. Because when you have them situations where it's just the whole street's just full up and you can't even walk down the street, because that's what's happening in a lot of parts of Spain and Greece at the moment. There's just far too many people about. How can a city kind of cope with the amount of people? Because there is a lot of people in a lot of places. Because a lot of people don't want to pay big money to go on holidays, etc., etc. Not even that, people don't have the money to pay big money. Uh, you know, but yeah, the what that, yeah, of course. That's what there's graffiti on some of the walls, etc. The what that. So whatever, I suppose. Whatever floats the boat, let's put it that way. But I don't know. I don't, yeah. But compared to Helsinki or the Nordic countries, nobody would go. Nobody in the right mind really would go there. Because what I paid for a week in Helsinki, you could nearly go to Spain for 5 months probably. Because nobody would go up that direction. I haven't never known of any cabin post that ever went up that direction in the world, basically. Um, it's just too expensive, you know. It's just far too expensive, you know. Like it was nearly 9,500 for a week to go to the Helsinki, uh, which is insane. It genuinely is insane. Because all the people I know go on holidays to Spain and Greece and stuff like that, less than 2,000 or so. When there's more of them, like there was one person that went to Croatia, and there was four of them, and they got for €3,000 to go to Croatia, and there was four of them. There was only two of us. It's insane. Especially when you add it all together, it's €4,000 each. When you put it in that perspective, you can see why people don't really go up to Finland. But you get what I'm saying. That's why there's not many tourists there. And if they are, they're only there for a day, and then they go off to Estonia. But anyway, we could talk about tourism all day. But there's a lot of tourists that come to Ireland too. So Ireland's expensive enough too. But I don't know about that expensive. But Dublin would be expensive, obviously. The countryside not so much. But anyway, you've seen about this poor Irish girl being bet up and told in Saudi Arabia, West, etc., etc. Thankfully, all charges are dropped, and thankfully she's safely back in Ireland now. So nothing can be done with her now in Dubai and Saudi Arabia. So basically, she's here and she's with her family. So all ends good in that case. Thankfully, some good news, and she's safe enough here now, and she's happy. That's the main thing. So we're like, thankfully, a good thing to talk about. There's finally, air hostess, yeah. But thankfully, she's back. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. But it's some good news for a change. Let's put it that way. Now we'll talk about that in a second. So we probably heard about this. So these are Essex bulldogs. Now they are very dangerous dogs. I've come across one or two of them in my time, and they are very frightening looking dogs. And they're dangerous dogs. They are very, very dangerous because they are really trained to kill. Like they generally are really trained to kill these dogs. You often see them in businesses, etc., etc. Some businesses back in the day, like they are literally trained to kill. That's literally what they really are. Yeah, pickpocketing. Yeah, Italy and they're all full of pickpocketers. But see, that was the good thing about Helsinki. There's not that many people there to pickpocket you, basically, and even at that, there's very trusting society. And not even that the police were nearly up here. So there was nobody really around the pickpocket, basically. Compared to Barcelona, see that's what I'm saying about crowds. You can't watch everything that's happening in the crowd. If you're in a big crowd in the street, it's more easy to pickpocket. But yeah, these dogs are going to be banned. Which again, one of these dogs did kill this poor woman in Limerick. I'm sure you remember. So I know a few people might disagree with this, but I do agree with this that we probably should, because they are very vicious. Now, I do admit under some circumstances you can own this dog, and I think the government are going to allow permit. You can have a permit to own this dog, but in certain circumstances, because they are very dangerous. We all have to admit they are very dangerous dogs. More than any dog can be dangerous, right? Any dog can be dangerous. He was quite dog. Yeah, we will be allowed to have them after August, if you had one. But no, it's just again any dog. This is the thing. Any dog can be dangerous if you get them on a bad day. If you have them on a bad day, because dogs can have bad days the same as you and I. And they are like these dogs specifically are dangerous because this is what caused this death, and they banned them in the UK. Except they have been related to many killings and stuff like that. But any dog can be dangerous, regardless of what dog you have. Even the smallest dog can be dangerous. But I don't know, what does people think of this? I know people would say we probably should, because in Northern Ireland they've done it too. So I don't know what does people think because I don't think it make a difference. Like what they're trying to say is, oh, the dog's attacks will stop, etc., after this is banned. It might reduce a bit, not by much, but a bit. But at the end of the day, it doesn't solve the main issue of dogs just running wild on the street. That's the main problem. A lot of dogs just running random, running up and down the street with no supervision, no leads, etc., etc. Not even that too. Um, the owners are just now taking responsibility for the dogs. So I don't know what those people think about that, because I know people would say it's a bit of an overreach. And I don't know, to be totally honest. I kind of support and I kind of don't. 'Cause I don't see it making much of a difference to really make an impact. But then again, you know, anyway, as Joe Biden would say. But what do we think of that? Oh, give me a second. Sorry, yeah, German Shepherds and stuff. I've often seen German Shepherds. But these dogs do look vicious now. I've seen one or two of them in my time and they do look vicious. Depends, yeah. I don't know. Because something really, really have to be done in terms of dog. But again, it all goes back to enforcement. It's the same at the moment. You can't have a dog. If you had a dog now in the morning, take for example, you have to make sure, well, in theory, it doesn't work in reality. But say you had a dog now at the moment, right? Um, and you like at the moment, dogs just run wild on the street. There's nobody to stop them. The dog warden should be stopping people because it should be on the leash if it's out in public, etc., etc. So it doesn't just run around the place. And there's dogs in the town. They're the ones out in front of the cows in the middle of the street, etc., etc. And they're causing trouble, and then they're shitting on the ground, etc., etc. Like it's a whole nuisance, and nothing's ever done about it. That's the thing. But again, if something was done about it, maybe there'd be reduced in people being bitten, etc. So, but something does really because a lot of children are being attacked and bitten, etc., etc. And something has to be kind of done some way, you know. Yeah, you never see a walk behind or into that nowadays here. But. But as I say, any dog can be vicious if you get them on a bad day. That's the thing. It's a bit different with cats, obviously. Cats are more kind of um they're not like dogs, etc. But dogs can have bad days. If they have a pin in the ear, etc., it can cause them to be angry. Things can happen. Same as you and me. But in general, something does really have to be done about it because again, a lot of children are being attacked, and it's the children that's the main thing we should be worried about. Because young children being attacked, playing with dogs, etc., in parks, etc. That's what could happen. Not so much, like I say, this woman died from it too. It can be terrifying. Um, um, but I don't know. I'm mixed on it. Like I kind of do, and I kind of don't. To be totally honest, like I don't know, because the main thing we should be doing, and what we should be saying, is that we're going to enforce that more and get more dog wardens to enforce dogs just running wild on the street. Basically, we should be enforcing that because that would stop a lot of it. The dogs had leashes on them; they wouldn't allow out of their house unless the owner was with them with a leash. Compared to dogs just running around the place. Because the majority of instances of dogs, people being bitten in Cavan, was that the dogs were out in the road, etc., or in a field or in the public park, and they were just running wild, basically. And they were allowed to just do everything. The owner wasn't with them, and there was no leash or anything like that. So that's the main thing that happened in Cavan many times. People being bitten, not seriously now, but being bitten. Um, it's that stuff, and that's really what should be focused on too, along with this, probably. Yeah, I'd rather a cat to be totally honest, because again, I just rather a cat. It's a lot more simple. Now, so I'm sure people have seen about this too. Now, this is I don't even know what to describe this, but long story short, unfortunately, again, this is the way it's probably going to go in construction here. As you see, this has all been 3D printed. Just imagine that. Think about that for a second. 3D printers. This has all been 3D printed. And the fully home has been 3D printed in Drogheda and County Louth. Now, there's two things with this. Obviously, we have to see how it works out. If it works well and people have been, it's more efficient than people. Because again, the thing about it is, and this is the thing, they want to take the human element out of a lot of stuff. And again, the main thing about this is they don't want to pay people to build stuff. They don't want to pay no, but this is the thing, Gordon. It's a lot cheaper than paying a person to do it, and it takes a lot less time and stuff like that. But the problem is here, we don't want robots replacing humans. Sorry, not machines. We don't want that because again, this could have employed maybe these houses because there was 3 or 4 of them built. They could have employed maybe 100 men each to do this work. But again, one machine done it all basically. So people are losing out. So there's less jobs to the people that need jobs like construction workers. But then again, you could argue that because again, a human mind is more better to do things than an AI, etc., because your human mind, etc. Wildcats? Oh no. But I don't know. But if we see how it works, but my fear is that there be some fault with the machine. Oh, does he? Yeah. Well, I didn't see it actually. I didn't see, but it's presuming in the back end. How they're going to let them just wander around Edinburgh or something like that. But yeah. Anyway, long story short, I don't know what people think about this, but I don't know. I don't know. But if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We see. But again, it is some money. I don't think it says how much. Like this is it here. I don't know myself what to think of it either. But I suppose this is the future now. It is just the future of construction because there's not enough people to build houses. So I don't know. But this is what they look like after the 3D print. This is what they are now. Yeah, because why would they couldn't have them in just one around the fucking city centre? But okay, if they're up in the Highlands, there's no problem with them. Scotland, some parts of Scotland, there's nobody there. But this is what they look like. These all been these two houses been 3D printed. Like it's insane too. Years ago, this never would have been thought of. But I don't know. But again, I do think this is just getting rid of jobs. To be totally honest, that's what I'm taking in my head. Whatever jobs are left in construction, there's a lot of jobs actually. What I'm trying to say. Now, I should have talked about this earlier on. So obviously, I just briefly touched on it because I meant to talk about earlier on. Yeah, I wouldn't imagine how did that do that mad. Are they? But yeah, long story short, Joe Biden is fucked. I should have mentioned that earlier on. And we're back on this. So obviously, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. The Finnish voting, the new voting, the thing they brought in Finland to the thing, the what they call the border thing. But I can't think of the proper name of it. But yeah, what a surprise! Less than half the people in Ireland trust the government. I wonder why. I wonder why. We see what these what we join the Commonwealth people what to say. Because this is literally what News Talk what do we join the Commonwealth? Like that's the thing. What do we join the Commonwealth? Like this is the breakdown here. So like this is what this literal terrible is like. Yeah, people's attitudes have changed through the social media. The thing about this is, and this is the thing the government always cry about. The only reason why people's attitudes have changed, like if we listen to OT, we are brainwashed. Is the fact of the matter is that people are seeing stuff online that is question the government on what they're doing. Like, if we about immigration, we see it every day of the week. I log on the Twitter. You see videos of people just turning up from Timbuktu, getting free houses, getting free this, free that, the other. And not even to mention, too, people going out committing crimes, getting off with it, etc., etc., etc. Only for these things. And people being bussed into the middle of the night into places. Only for these videos existing. You wouldn't rely on OT to show you. OT wouldn't show you. But what I'm trying to say, only for that, nobody would know any difference, to be totally honest. So that's why social media, this one's kind of just blame it's only Joe's for doing the media's job, basically. Uh, so political parties 24, this is all bullshit. That's what they say. To put it in the nicest possible terms, this is all bullshit. Nobody trusts anybody. Nobody trusts local government. Nobody trusts the Oireachtas. Nobody trusts anything. 84% reported they trust most people. Interesting. 1 in 4 they trust. 47% say they trust the media. I don't believe this. Like, show me who's saying this. Nobody listens to OT. Um, like literally, she's more or less saying we should all watch OT, basically. So I don't know. But to put it in the nicest possible terms, to the CHO, the Central Statistics Office, this is a load of bullshit. Nobody trusts anybody. Like, who in the name of God trusts the national government? Show me the person. Who trusts the civil service? Who trusts on God? Who trusts this legal system? Who trusts the media? I don't know about the international NGOs, but who in the name of God in the right mind? Who trusts, like, Ireland? What kind of bullshit are we smoking if this is the reality? Because this is not the reality, just to say. Nobody trusts these fuckers. Nobody trusts anybody. Like, let's be fair. If you went around Dublin and done with a camera and took and asked people in the street what do they take off the Oireachtas, the House of the Oireachtas, the Shannon and the Dáil, probably maybe you'd be lucky if you could find 10 people that say, yeah, I fully trust them. Because everybody tell them they're a load of bollocks, that's basically in the longest possible term. And then if you ask them to trust the national government, they tell them they're a load of bollocks. If you ask them to trust in God or Shane O'Connor, they're a load of bollocks. If you ask them, like, this is bullshit. Nobody trusts the Irish civil service because there's no transparency. It's all just hidden away and stuff like that. And then not even to mention the media. OT is just the biggest bullshitters imaginable. So, News Talk, we want to rejoin the Commonwealth. That's literally the organisation. Nobody trusts them either because, let's be fair, they want to rejoin the Commonwealth. We don't want to join NATO, but we rejoin the Commonwealth. Whatever for that. That's a bit extreme now, wanting to rejoin the Commonwealth. So be in for a big annoyance here. So these two men here, and I have a lot of respect for them, they're part of the organisation supposed to out Lockhoot. I talked about it before. There is rumours, but there's nobody listening. And what they're trying to say is here, there is rumours relating to what's happening in the Lockhoot we talked about before. But the rumours not being enforced, nobody cares about the rumours. There's nobody to enforce it, so why should people care about the rules if there's nobody there to stop you from breaking the law? That's the main thing. It's a sad state of affairs, especially because, again, in this area, not supposed to be capping, as you see pictures here. We talked about this before, as it says here, no capping, no fires, no littering, no loud music, dogs must be kept under control. None of this has been done. But at the end of the day, this is the thing the council would say, the signs of people should be respectful, as it says, respect this area. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. Why should people do it if there's no enforcement? What they should have is the park warden, though, somebody for this area that's always there, that's designated to be there, like a community guard, I suppose, in a way, for this area. But they won't do that. They have to pay a person to do it, and they won't do it. And it's just not acceptable that this is the situation still going on. As you can see here, just drinking being done, etc., etc. What they're basically saying is, as you see, toilet paper, etc., etc., has been fucked everywhere. And this is in Cavan's most historical part of Cavan. As it says, you can just read it. It's a scowling thing. But again, nothing's ever going to be done because there's no enforcement. There's nobody there to stop this from going on. Because at the end of the day, you could have all the signs up. You could say this and you can say that. And you can say that. Bring in this bylaw, that bylaw, the other bylaw. But at the end of the day, unless you have somebody there to stop them from doing it, and enforcement and fines and whatever else, that's what I'm saying. Like, it is very bad, and we should be ashamed. Like, I'm generally saying to the councillors and TDs, you should be ashamed of yourself for this carry on being allowed to continue. And not even that. It's a mess. Yeah. Yeah, like This is true. Like, this is very true. The council have to walk with these people because these people live out there, etc., etc. They have to walk with them. And I've said it time and time and again. The only way to do it, and I went on the big rant the other day about it. The only way to do it, and the English should just say it out, and everybody else should say it out, is if we employ more councilmen. Years ago, we used to have, say, for example, in that area, including this area here, there might have been 200 men employed in the council to clean up and to walk on the roads, etc. Now there's only about maybe 10 out of them 200 that used to be years ago. So that's what's happening because they're expecting people just to do it themselves and people to go out volunteer to do it, etc., etc. That shouldn't be the case. As simple as that. As they've done it in Helsinki, and again, this is a perfect example. They have people employed. They're willing to spend the money to make sure things are done. But over here, there's an issue, obviously, with it. They just don't want to pay anybody to do anything. And it's a sad disgrace, and this is a disgrace of the councils and TDs, that this is allowed to happen every day of the week. There should be people employed. Like they're even cutting down the trees to make fires, etc., etc. in this historical area. Like, it is sad. You can see Loch Huta there. This is where it's happening. Literally on the shore beside Loch Huta Castle, one of the most famous landmark in Cavan. And this is what's happened, as you see here. And this is not even I was here many times picking up stuff. And this is only a bit compared to, you should have seen once or twice a few years ago. There was bags here, there was things there, there was stuff in the water. It was a mess. There's fires everywhere. It was a mess. So this is on a good day. This is a good day now. So, you know, it's a sad, it is generally just a very sad state of affair. But yeah, they are very clean. They do pride themselves in that. But anyway, are we looking forward to moving on to the talking about the Finnish law? Anyway. So the border law, that's what it's called. So when I was in Finland, right, there was a huge discussion because obviously I was with some of the Social Democrats, etc., in Finland when I was there. And there was a big discussion, particularly from the Social Democrats. And that time was supposed to be a week after I left, I was supposed to vote on. Obviously, it was delayed by a few weeks. The main thing was, and again, this is just to put in perspective, in Finland, take for example, you know, the hate speech bill, etc. here, you know, the way the government have the numbers. In Finland, for it to pass, something very controversial, something that will change Finland, they need a 56% majority in parliament. And obviously the government, the coalition government, the True Finns and the Conservative government, doesn't have the numbers to get it through themselves, basically, because they only have 108 seats. They need 137 seats or so, 27 votes to get it through. So we should have something like that here, because the European Migration Pact wouldn't have went through because they would have needed Sinn Féin to support it, basically, which is a good system and something that's, you know, very controversial, etc. That's the way it works in Finland. They need a 56 majority to pass something very controversial, something that would change, like the NATO vote, take this up. But everybody voted for the NATO vote in the Finnish parliament. But anyway, long story short, and again, a lot of people a lot of lefties in America, in Finland, are very upset at the moment, because guess who actually voted in favour of it? Sanna Marin's party, not Sanna Marin because she's not an MP, but literally Sanna Marin's party, the Social Democratic Party, the party that I was with, that's supposed to be a left party, voted with the government, with the True Finns and the Conservative Party. They voted for it, which is insane. That, you know, again, at the time when I was there, they didn't know what they're going to vote for, what they're going to go against it. They didn't know. So they didn't know. So they didn't know at the time, but they did obviously vote with the government. Now, at the time when I was there, because it was talked about a good bit, and particularly they asked me a lot of questions too when I was there, not so much the high ups. There was one high fellow I was talking to, the Social Democrats, yeah. But they asked me particularly, they wanted to know, because the whole thing's about Ireland, the Irish border, etc., what border, but, you know, people coming in and etc., and I talked to them about it, I said about it to them, and they said about the bill that they're putting forward, etc. Now, I suppose it's complicated to try and explain the next bit, but what I'm trying to say is there is a regulation in the Finnish constitution to allow the government in emergency time to do with the border and security and Finnish security to put measures, close the border, whatever they need to do to protect Finland's sovereignty. It's in the constitution. And now there's a bit of, because obviously it kind of, how would I put it? It's a kind of against the EU law in a way. It is kind of against the United Nations Convention of Human Rights, etc., because it's infringing on asylum seekers' human rights, which I don't think so. Because at the end of the day, they're protecting their sovereignty, protecting their country, etc., etc. That's the way I seen it, and that's the way the majority of them seen it too, and the Social Democrats. That it needs to be done to protect Finland, regardless of its own constitution. It needs to be done because what's happening at the moment there needs to be action taken. So that's what I think they've done. I think they've done something for good. Basically, they might have broken a few rules, but I think they've done something for good to stop what's going to happen in Finland, and particularly as they see in Ireland, what's happening in Ireland, take what's happened at the moment. As they said to them, I showed them videos, etc., what was the caveat that was happening in Ireland, and they might have, hopefully, maybe influenced them a bit. Maybe they might have shown it to their higher ups, extra higher ups. But I said to them at the time when I was talking to them that they probably should support the bill. So that's my personal, because again I have personal experience, because there was a huge discussion about it one stage when I was there. Because again the main thing was this bill, the True Finns and the Conservative Party, they've been talking about doing it since they went into government, etc., etc. And obviously there's been huge opposition and how to phrase it, etc., etc. And again, as I said, they didn't have the numbers to pass it themselves, so they needed another party to support it. So but yeah, I'll show you now. But yeah, that's my personal experience with it, because I actually have personal experience talking about it, because But I will things now in a second. But as it says here, it's not that controversial, because a lot of Finnish people, and even just talking to 2 or 3 only Finns, like on the street, we're not only Finns in the street, people that were in cafes and stuff, I was talking to them. I asked 3 of them about this, and they said they were supportive of it. They don't want it to be too overreaching, but they do support the premise of it. That something really has to be done if there's going to be influx, like as we say at the moment. Russia is bringing people to the Finnish border from Iran and stuff like that, foreigners to try and overwhelm Finland. They try and bring in so many asylum seekers that it overwhelms, destabilizes Finland, etc., etc. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring loads of foreigners, young men. The same as what happened here. The Russians are doing that. They're bringing them to the Finnish border. They're trying to stay. And this national security was to have the border closed now. They have the border closed, but they're planning to open it at some stage. But again, this deportation bill, I suppose, is the way. But it passed by a lot. So the biggest shock for everything in Finland at the moment is that the Social Democrats, the person behind me, the person that used to lead the Social Democrats, they voted in favour of passing the bill. Only for that, the government would have been defeated, and there would have been a general election, to be totally honest. So that's what was at risk here. So the Social Democratic Party, the literally leftist group, I suppose people would call them, literally voted with like the True Finns are a far-right group, the extremist group. I will admit that. The majority of Finns would agree on that too, that they are very extremist. And I suppose it shows what I said before too, that they're willing to, every party really in Finland too, regardless of what it is, they're willing to communicate on national security. They put national security very high up, So it's an interesting thing. But I just go through the premise of it anyway. As I see, only they needed 167 votes to pass it. They need a 56 majority to pass it. The backing of 56 MPs to present in order to pass. So the True Finns, the government party, didn't have the numbers. They didn't have the numbers to pass it themselves. So they needed the Social Democrats to pass the bill. And obviously the Social Democrats voted in favour of it. So as it says there, large groups of migrants to Finnish checkpoints at the eastern border. That's what it's really trying to stop. Because the main purpose of this been, and people probably spend, like, you know, the way people turn up to Ireland from Timbuktu, the Irish government have an obligation to take them people in and process their claims, etc., etc. In Finland, the border guards can just straight away turn you away and not let you in. So that's what's happening at the moment. Yeah, as I say, the determination to work together on security. So you can see the Deputy Prime Minister and the Interior Minister were literally crying when the vote got passed. The only reason why they were crying is because if this vote didn't pass, their government would have collapsed and there would have been a general election. So they're very lucky in that regard that the Social Democrats voted with them. Now, so the other parties that voted against it was Lion. So it's Lion Anderson's last day too before she fully goes to the European Parliament. The Left Alliance and the Green Party voted against it. Voted against this, as you see here. The Social Democrats all voted, voted for it. So there was an interruption too in the Finnish Parliament, which is very unusual. It's actually nearly the first time ever in the Finnish Parliament there was actually something like this happened. It happened in Dáil before, I'm sure you remember. But yeah, so the people were protesting about this in the Finnish Parliament. Obviously, these people were arrested and they were prosecuted, etc., etc. A survey found, as it says here, found that 2/3 of response were favouring the legislation. So a lot of people were in favour. The only Finn on the street was in favour of it, which I did find myself. Oh yeah, but we get to that. Yeah, you just reminded me actually about it. I literally have it there. Yeah, I only thought about it there. But in fairness, for the first time ever, the true Finns actually have done something useful. That's the thing I need to ask here. That's the thing I need to say. So this is one of the higher ups in the Social Democrats, just to put it in perspective, because a lot of people, the left, a few lefties in Finland are crying at the moment. For the Social Democrats, the border security law is about Russia and stuff like that, and about protecting the sovereignty, etc., etc. Because there's a lot of people criticizing the Social Democrats, because they are kind of left, moderately left, more than the Left Alliance, etc., etc., and the Green Party. But as I say, they're under a lot of criticism, the Social Democrats, for why they voted it in, etc., etc. So, because again, let's be fair, Sinn Féin wouldn't have voted this in. That's what I'm trying to say. If it was in Dáil and take, for example, would you think Sinn Féin would have voted in? Because the True Finns and the Conservative Party, etc., they needed an opposition, they needed more votes to pass it. So, if that was Sinn Féin, they wouldn't have passed it, because again, it doesn't benefit the people that's coming into the country, basically, because they won't be getting in, basically. Let's put it that way. Like, it is the toughest border law in the European Union at the moment, apart from maybe from Hungary. Yeah, we'll go to this for a second. So, as you can see, Lai Anderson's not too pleased. They're just they're very upset over it. Well, I don't know about upset. They're very angry over it. They look like they're going to get up and actually kill something. To be totally honest, they look like about to explode, basically. In other words, so obviously the Left Alliance. This is the Left Alliance here. They voted against it. They voted against the government, etc., etc. But even if the Left Alliance and the Green Party voted for them, they didn't have the numbers. They needed the Social Democrats to vote for it. So there you are. I just wanted to try to show you that one. So yeah, and then when the vote was passed, this is the Deputy Prime Minister of the True Finns. Now, in fairness, I give them credit where credit's due. I don't like the True Finns. I have the only Finnish person doesn't like them either. They kind of bollocks us, but in fairness, they've done something useful for once in their life. Once. So in fairness, they've done a good thing, but again, they're very happy. Yeah, they look very upset because they didn't want the bill to pass. Lai Anderson didn't want it. The Left Alliance voted against it. But this is the Deputy Prime Minister and the Interior. Like, they literally were crying about it. They were so happy. Because if the Social Democrats voted against it when they were there, if they said they would vote forward. But if the Social Democrats did, there would have been a general election in Finland. The government would have collapsed. And the Social Democrats, you truly might have come back. You wouldn't above us. But I do think the Social Democrats would have probably brought it forward themselves. Because they actually said the word that Micheál Martin hates. They said they want to protect Finnish sovereignty. Which Micheál Martin is very, I'm sure, very whinging at the moment about. And even the woman, I think herself, said something about it. She said she was in favour of passing it. She might have changed a few things, I think she said. But I think she said she was in favour of passing it. And especially because, too, I'm sure they would have probably asked of the people in the Social Democrats at the moment what she thinks about it. I just think they should vote forward. So they probably had her advice, too. So I assume she's forward, too. Because she did say about it, there was it probably needs to be changed a bit, I think she said. But that's about it. But yeah, so, I don't know what to make of that. But yeah, so this is the city councillor, one of the city councillors for the Social Democratic Party. Even though it's a big, important issue, national security, which is, we can all agree, I can't trust the government with immigration policy and policies. Yeah, no. Like it is true. A lot of people, even that they're giving credit, like even me giving credit, the true Finns, I still couldn't trust them, basically. But still, nonetheless, the Social Democrats voted in favour of it. Which is it's very it's quite extraordinary, because just thinking about it, if that was Sinn Féin, they wouldn't have done it, because it doesn't benefit the migrants. It benefits the Finnish people, but doesn't benefit now, as everyone only said earlier on, I should have probably talked about this first. So basically what this means, it is good. It's a good bit of writing on it. But long story short, the Irish People's Party, which is a new party, the National Party, obviously we know about the National Party, then the Irish Ireland Force, Derek Bolloy, Derek Bolloy and them, they're basically forming the coalition, an alliance, as Erin only said, an alliance group. So basically, they're going to work together. So basically, they're one of the same parties, nearly the same. At the moment, they're basically together, basically. But what that means is there won't be, say, a national party and an Ireland Force candidate, one of them, one area. There'll be only one candidate. The three parties will put their support behind. So, take for example, in Cork, take for example, Derek Bolloy in the general election. This is for the general election. Derek Bolloy won in Cork. In Cork, part of Cork. And the National Party and the Irish people will put up a candidate, because they'll be the whole parties to be together, basically. So it's basically an alliance, basically, of the parties. That's what I'm trying to say. Which is very good. Unfortunately, I don't think the Irish Freedom Party wanted to be a part of it. As far as I know, I don't know yet. The Irish Freedom Party, I don't think it said anything. But it's a good step in the right direction, because let's be fair, the left are in coalition together, along with the government. So we need a kind of coalition of our own, I suppose, is the word to say. So it's obviously good news. So it's good news. So we see if Ireland Force joins it then. Ireland Force, yes. No, not Ireland Force, the Irish Freedom Party. So I'm confusing myself. I'm confusing myself. There's that much to try and remember. So we see what happens. But it is a good step. It's a step in the right direction. Let's put it that way. All nationalist parties are working together, which is good. The three national parties working together. There'll be more to come, probably, hopefully. But yeah, so it's a step in the right direction. Let's put it that way. But anyway, I can turn off and go on. So what do people think of that too? I don't know. Also, just to say, I'll get it up now in a second. So just in from Radio Television Sharon. Oh yeah, I get what you're saying, but we see what happens to us. I'm willing to give it a try, if that makes sense. I'm willing to let it walk, like let it see what happens. Let's put it. It's no harm in trying it to see how it works out. Basically, if that makes any sense. I don't know if we agree. It might work the same way as Italy, it might not, but we see. We see. There's no harm in trying, I suppose. If that makes any sense, that's just the way I see it at the moment. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's no harm in trying. But yeah, this is news. Sinn Féin didn't reflect the concerns on immigration enough, Marilyn McDonald said. So obviously the reason why Sinn Féin got set back, well, didn't get set back, but lost a lot of seats, they thought we won away with it. So I did take too. A lot of people are very concerned. It's not about local resources. Marilyn McDonald's tried to push it over to the other way. It's the fact of the matter that Sinn Féin is the main opposition party, supposed to be the main opposition. And the biggest topic in the country, let's be fair, is immigration. The amount of people coming in, it's just straight up it. You see the amount of protests around the country. It's the topic of the week, the topic of the year. And Sinn Féin were nowhere to be found with a strong immigration policy. As Mary McDonald basically says here, that they're not going to adopt the hard standpoint. Like, they're just digging themselves a bigger hole. Like, nobody's going to vote them in if they don't adopt this extreme hard immigration policy. That's when maybe they might get voted in to do that, but they won't do it because, Sinn Féin being an open border party, they don't believe in borders. So, they're not going to adopt the hard immigration policy when they don't believe even in the border. So, but that was the thing. That's what fucked them. There was nothing else. It was just immigration. That's what fucked them. That they didn't speak up. They weren't loud enough. They were always hiding behind something when they're talking about immigration. And it's the fact that they didn't believe in borders, etc. And so they don't. You think they would come out and say we're going to be a lot more tough on immigration? No, they're not. So they're just saying we're fucking going to you have to put up with it, basically. More or less what Marilyn McDonald said. Yeah, we see how it goes. Yeah, no harm to give it a try and see. We can only try, I suppose. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying about Italy, but it might work. It might work if we see how we go. But it's obviously upset the left in the country a good bit. Let's put it that way. It's upset them a lot. So I'm going to go on a bit of a rant now in a second. I didn't talk about this before. I waited for a few minutes to see how it would go. Yeah, that didn't work out well, but so you probably heard about independent Ireland. Now, the EU candidate is Maloon's decision. They joined the Fianna Fáil group in the European Parliament. So an independent joined the Fianna Fáil group in the European Parliament. It's insane. That they joined the Fianna Fáil group in the European Parliament. They're supposed to be an independent. And Maloon, a lot of people voted Maloon because they thought he was an independent man. He stand up for people against this migration pact, stand up against this that's happening in the country. People voted him for that, and then he turns around and does that. And to be totally honest, independent Ireland was a lot of people supported them when they started off, thinking they were going to do some good, going to do a good thing. We're going to be a huge opposition, I suppose we will call it for our right party, etc., etc. But it didn't turn out well. We were not be drawn into the cultural nonsense to do a little, in the consultative way. But again, this is the thing: the immigration and stuff like that is not really a cultural war, etc., etc. but training there, as I say, like an MEP too shouldn't really have his account blocked to the Bidolians. An MEP shouldn't. But he's one in the way. But they were supposed to have a meeting in Port and the cats were afraid of people holding up to annoy them and to ask them some tough questions. But long story short, uh, nobody should have probably voted Malone in, to be totally honest. But independent Ireland's just basically gone. It's destroyed. Yeah, as Tracy Manley said, for your candidate, you know, this is basically my view too on it. Like, they've zero respect for the people who voted them in. And thing. Like, this meme here tells you all you need to know. It's just bullshit. That's really what it is. But you know, Tracy Manley says it perfect herself. Like, it didn't last long, basically. But yeah, independent Ireland just dissolve at this stage and just go back to one business. You know. But I would have supported them only for now. They've completely thrown it out all the window. You know, they had a good start. They had a good start, but they just completely fucked everything out the window. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. They had a good start. I would have voted them in. I probably would have voted him as an independent. I probably would have given him a reference in the European. He was in my area. He probably was, yeah. But I would have given him a good reference in my vote. But technically, I wasn't here, so I didn't vote him. But yeah, no, it's just showing zero respect for the people that voted him into the office. So hopefully, independent Ireland is going to be gone, not going to exist after the next election. Oh yeah, England's playing tomorrow night in the final. We should see what happens. We should see. Yeah, no jokes. I'm not much of a joke fan. This country. Sorry, I'm just listening to Shin like Murder Madonna, what she's saying. Yeah, I might watch too. See how we get on. Yeah, it's just load of bullshit. What do you expect me to? Sorry, I'm just listening to Mary McDonald talk rubbish. Um, so I'm just reading the things here. Big delete. Anyway, we'll probably soon go in a few minutes. Anyway, I think I've talked about everything that needs to be talked about today. I think. Unless there's something else somebody ought to ask. Um, who's Biden? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. On your community on YouTube, you mean? Oh, where was this? Yeah, tag me in it. Yeah, be able to see it here now. You know how to do it now. It's like what you use for the Gmail kind of thing. Give me a second. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Oh my god. I can actually on YouTube now. I can actually see, how many comments people have made and stuff like that. I actually can do that. I actually can go through people's thing. I didn't even know that. When did YouTube add this in? So basically, if I click on your name now, I can see your activity, how long you've been on YouTube, etc., etc. That's very handy. I can actually click on you now just to see how long you've been here. That sounds a bit ominous. Yeah, I used to watch some of his older, like when he was here, when he used to post on his how would I describe it? Back in the past. I'm trying to get through YouTube's censorship thing because they might pick me up saying something on it. Yeah, like when I click on his channel, I can see. Yeah, I know it shows that, but I can actually see I know it showed, but I can actually see like in channel activity, like when I click on your name there, like I can see you joined a month ago and how many subscribers you had, etc. And all the messages you left. And did you get any deleted messages time outside? That's what I'm saying. I know it can. I showed before. Actually, where's my YouTube studio for that? Because I don't know if you see my community post, but there's people watching me from our at one stage. Um, I don't know why. Fine, give me a second. Need to go and find my YouTube. Just give me a second, Simon. He's dead, as Gates famously said. Get my yolk up. Give me a moment. Sorry, I'm just looking for something. Pig Gilly. Can I please see something? See more. I hate this kind of graphic. Please click the thing. Thank you. Please, can I click? Sorry, give me a second. I haven't time. May I please see stuff? I hate this. Super geography. Oh, there. Thank you. Where's my lifetime? That's when was the last 90 days? Maybe it was last month that. No bother. No, take your time going. No hurry. Yeah, that happens to me a lot too. I had the wee sub and then wee sub and then do this. I think YouTube just tried to stop me from subbing the place. There we go. Hopefully I don't show anything. Am I showing anything? No. You can see here now. So this is for the 14th of April, July the 12th. So as you can see, 1,777 from Ireland. Obviously, Ireland is my main target. United Kingdom, Germany, the United States, Finland, 57, Netherlands. You're like, yeah, and then you're like, Iraq. Why is people from Iraq watching me? Iraq, Then you have a few people from Russia watching me for some reason. Whatever. And then India, and then you have Turkey and stuff like that. But particularly Iraq. Who'll be watching me from Iraq? You can see when I went, like, look at it's been kind of up and down a lot of the times. But when I went to Finland, that just last month, June, when I went to Finland, everybody just came. Like, that's a huge spike because people thought I left for good. You can see May and all that. And then when I went in June, the whole place just shut up. Because people thought it was gone for good. So you can see just the spike. And then when I left and stuff like that, nobody came. But yeah, just a huge spike when I went to Finland. Like up in the wall. As you can see, it kind of goes down, up, goes down, up. Not bad as well. Yeah, you can, but no, but particularly when I went to Finland, you can see his shadow band. Like it steadily goes. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes down. Yeah, but it's not as like if you see the lifetime one, the other ones used to be more bossing. But the Finland, you can see the huge spike. And I went, yeah. So yeah, I had a few people from my whack actually. No, people thought I was gone for good. That's why people came on just to see where I went to. No, because people generally thought I went and left the country and said, "Fuck the whole lot of it here. I'm going off and to another country." You know, that's what a lot of people thought. A lot of people said it. They thought I was gone for good. So that was the only reason why people wanted to know why I was gone. Yeah, well, you can send it to me by email if you want. But they should let you anyway post it on the community post. Shouldn't really be an issue on it, unless it's a bit too big for maybe. Yeah, well, that's okay. So I see it. I see it at some stage, you know. Oh, sure. I see it at some stage, sure. I think we'll leave it there for the moment, unless anybody else says anything else. Anything else? Anything else? Oh, let's go on. Yeah, no, I was just seeing. No, but no, I was talking about other stuff anyway. So, what I was going to say. Oh yeah, just before I go, yeah, I was just watching the video there when I was just there a second ago. But there was a woman in a bus driver for bus Air in Limerick, and she was shot in the face with a nail gun and stuff. There's a video of that online now. No, obviously not. The nail gun obviously will hurt and regardless. But you know, to tell somebody would do that just randomly, like some random kid has an airsoft gun. Uh, you know. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Thank you for watching, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the evening. We'll be back Wednesday. Hopefully the House Safety Part 4 will be out Monday or Tuesday. So until then, I talk to you later. And enjoy the rest of your night. Good night.